And now, WWAX Productions proudly presents The Spotlight with Justin Hollywood. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of The Spotlight. I'm your host, Justin Hollywood, and today I'm here with a very special guest here on the podcast, and today I have local independent superstar Levi Payne. Levi, welcome to the show.
Hey man, thanks for having me.
First question I have for you, Levi, is how did you get into wrestling and what made you choose the business?
How did I get into wrestling? Well, like everybody else, growing up, you were, a fan of it. The first wrestler I ever seen was The Undertaker, but I didn't click well with him. Like, everybody else loved him. Then I seen Stone Cold and I seen The Rock. When I seen The Rock, just his charisma alone, got me hooked. Ever since then, dude, it was wrestling. Day in, day out. I was probably 9, 8, something like that when I first watched it. And then from then on, man, it was just wrestling. Wrestling, action figures, trampoline wrestling every single day. Magazines, video games, old DVDs. That was it.
So did you have any favorite wrestlers growing up, any certain ones?
Well, The Rock, like I said. I like The Rock. I had, Jericho. I always liked Jericho and Shawn Michaels and Angle. Eddie and Benoit. Those are my guys. And then, later on, like when I started venturing outside WWE, watching TNA, AJ Styles. That was my dude there. Christopher Daniels, that guy was awesome too. Samoa Joe, and those kind of always been my favorites. I still, can't say the word, prefer those guys over,
What's your opinion on them moving to WWE?
Long overdue. Because back then, what was it, 04, 05, I was really hoping they'd come then. And now they're all pushing 40, getting there, and they're finally here. But hey, let's just cherish it. They're here,
Yeah. What are your favorite moves in wrestling?
Favorite moves? Probably, it's not really a certain one, but I'm a big fan of suplexes.
Suplexes.
Any kind of suplex. It can, vertical's cool, but I love Germans. I love a German. I know everybody, nowadays with Lesnar hitting all the Germans every match, 13, 14 of them, everybody's all on board with it, but back to the days, like 03 Royal Rumble, Angle and Benoit, man, that was awesome. Yeah, definitely suplexes. Love them.
I've taken some suplexes in my time.
Oh, yeah, it felt good, didn't they? Oh yeah.
It felt pretty good, but at first, I was kind of scared of it.
Yeah, I was pretty scared my first time taking a German in the ring. Yeah, it's pretty scary, but
Why did you choose the name Levi Payne?
Levi Payne, well, that's actually my real name.
Oh.
It is Levi Payne Perryman. That is my name. And I tried the character deal. I remember playing the game back when was it, 04-ish. Def Jam Vendetta, I think that's what it's called. There was a guy on there with the name Nine, and Nine was spelled N-Y-N-E. I thought that was pretty cool, but everybody doing the character thing, like I'm a retired policeman or I'm a whatever. I never really got on board with that. I was just kind of being myself, Don't talk too much. I can. When I get to the ring, that's when it really comes out of me. But yeah, so I just went with Levi Payne.
When I first started, I started out wearing a mask I made out of, fabric.
Oh yeah.
That had like long dreads.
Man, we used to make those, back in my trampoline wrestling days, when the Hardy Boys was hot. We go steal, pantyhose and all kind of stuff, make the armbands. We cut the fingers in them, all that stuff. And my first gear was garbage. I got a T-shirt with the name 9 printed on it, a cut-off sleeve, white tee with some gym shorts and some karate kick pads that I took some iron-on letters, which I totally messed up, by the way. It was awful. But yeah, and then I went on to be an AJ Styles ripoff, basically. After that.
How many years have you been in the business?
Well, let's see. I started wrestling in 04, and I wrestled till about 08, and then, you know, life gets you. I met a girl, you know, all that crap. Then I quit for a while. I took a break from like 08 to like, man, just till last year, 2015. And, you know, I had a few buddies always ask me to come back, beg me to come back, and I never would because I was always just comfortable now. And then I, you know, I had 3 kids and everything was getting, you know, settled. And I don't know, man. I always had the itch, but then I had to get back in the gym, and that was gonna be a hassle with work and everything. But then one day, man, I just said, you know, the hell with it, just do it. And I did it, and I've been doing it for the past year and a half now. So
I'm actually glad you decided to come back because you're one hell of a performer.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Especially that ladder match you had with Cash. That was a really good match.
Yeah, I was telling him earlier, my back is still numb, and that was what, a month or 2 ago.
Yeah.
That one, yeah, my back still goes numb from time to time from that. Not a good feeling. Kind of scary.
How many championships have you won in your career?
Let's see. I was in for WECW. I was the first X division champion they had. I've won that belt 4 times. And I was their heavyweight champion once. And that's all I've won.
How was your run as heavyweight champion?
Short. Short and brief. It was only like a month or 2. It wasn't too long. But the X champion, I had a pretty good lengthy ones.
What are some of the best promotions you worked for?
Okay, with WECW, I've been with them since they started back in 04, 03-ish, that area. I worked at FCW a few times when they were called FCW, and those shows were always awesome. Got one here tonight, UCW. We're gonna see how it goes. I'm pretty excited about it. XP Wrestling, Explosive Pro Wrestling, down in Lyons, Georgia. That was pretty awesome. Great crowd, awesome crowd. I worked for a few here and there that wasn't so awesome, but that comes with it.
What's it like working for WECW and being considered a WECW original?
Oh man, it's awesome. I really appreciate them doing that. All the things they've done for me. When I was deciding on whether or not they come back and all this stuff, they were patient and everything. They wouldn't give me a hard time about it. They understood, and they gave me my first shot. Just 16, 17 years old. They've been really good to me. So yeah, it's awesome.
You've wrestled in the 6-sided ring for WECW, correct?
Yeah.
Which do you prefer, 4 or 6?
4. 4. Yeah, 6-side, man. It looks cool till you get in there, and then you're so used to working 4 sides, and you try running to one of the 4 sides, and it ain't there. It's a turnbuckle. So it got some getting used to there for a little while, but yeah, I prefer the 4 side.
You ever get a feeling that you were in TNA?
Oh yeah, you get in the ring and you kind of picture yourself being in TNA, but
What are some of your favorite matches and opponents you worked with?
Oh, let's see. Well, we mentioned earlier that ladder match I had with T Cash about a month or 2 ago. That was pretty dope. I've worked this guy named Venom down there in WCW. I worked him hundreds of times, man. I remember one time we had a match at FCW, and the show was called the Big Damn Event. I don't know if it was the first one or what, but the crowd, man, the house was packed. There was like 400 or 500 people there, man. And they put us on 3rd or 4th, and we always tried having the best match on the card. We went out there, man, and we hit one spot, man, where the crowd, they all stood up and started chanting FCW, which was the coolest thing that's ever happened in a match with me. That was awesome. Crazy feeling. I had a Falls Count Anywhere match with Charlie Anarchy last year at WCW, and that was awesome too. That was pretty brutal. definitely felt it in the next few weeks. Yeah.
Is there anyone on the independent or pro level you'd like to work if you had the chance?
Oh, hundreds. Hundreds. Locally, man, there's so many. I want to work so bad. Ken Lee, that guy, he's amazing. I don't know if you ever seen that guy work.
I've seen him work at Flatline a couple of times.
Yeah. Him, Anthony Henry is amazing. He's going, man. And I seen him on, what, SmackDown, was it?
He was Kevin Owens' attorney, I believe.
Yeah, that was crazy seeing him on SmackDown. Fireman, he seems to have a lot of just charisma. You know what I'm saying? It's like, Ethan Case. And one day I might challenge, he's not an active wrestler, but Mikey Galino, smack him around a little bit.
Yeah.
Pro level dude, man, AJ Styles, that'd be my number one. Sami Zayn, Cesaro, Samoa Joe, Seth Rollins, all those guys like that. I'm not so, keen to working bigger guys. I will, but like I'm not out of my way to go work like Baron Corbin. I mean, he's awesome, yeah, but I like the more technical guys, smaller guys. I like, and of course The Rock. Who wouldn't,
Anybody would be willing to take a rock bottom from him.
Oh boy, in a minute.
What would you say if Vince McMahon called you up and offered you $1 million contract with WWE?
Where do I sign? I mean, it's just straight off the rip. I got, like I said, I got a wife and 3 kids. Being away from them ain't fun. I always miss them. But going there, if I got offered that kind of contract, man, that's life changing. That's no brainer.
Would you ever consider facing a guy named Justin Hollywood?
Who's that? Nah. Oh yeah, definitely. Always willing to face anybody, man. Just keep on training, and it probably happened.
I gotta get back in ring shape.
Yeah.
All right, you got one more question for you, Levi. Is there anything you'd like to say or advice you want to give to any newcomers in the business?
Yeah, make sure this is what you want. You know what I'm saying? Growing up, this is what I've always wanted, and I let other things kind of sidetrack me. And getting caught up in life, I mean, you start questioning, is it worth it? And, I get that way sometimes because, like I said, I got a full-time job with kids. I question it. But, man, it's just, I've loved it so long, when ever since I was little. I still have the want to, And, if I could have the attitude back then when I first started that I had now, and know what I know now back then, there ain't no telling where I could be right now, So make sure this is what you want. Stay dedicated, work hard, get in shape, better yourself, get healthy. And it's a lot of sacrificing. I mean, some folks don't go to college just because, because they want to be a wrestler. They don't have, significant others, kids, because they want to be a wrestler, which is kind of a better, a good thing to have sometimes, because you ain't got to worry about other folks, like your kids. You ain't got to constantly worry about them, all that stuff. So make sure this is what you want, because it's a time-consuming business.
Yeah, I've always had the problem with people bullying and picking on me and my friends in high school and throughout middle school,
Same
about
here.
being in wrestling.
Same here. I was the same way. Yeah, growing up in Millen, Georgia, small town, we had a bunch of, the prep guys and, all this stuff. And, back then I didn't care about nothing but wrestling. That was it. I didn't care about going to no damn prom. I didn't care about, mud bogging, going out and getting drunk. Girlfriend, I didn't want one, because my girlfriend was wrestling, what I'm saying? And that's all I wanted to do. And, they pick on us. They, us wearing our wrestling t-shirts, and they saying it's fake and all this stuff. Hey, why don't you come over here and try some of them fake ass wrestling moves on me, and, it does come handy when you get in the fight, especially if you get an upper hand and they position down a little no for a power bomb. I mean, maybe go for it. I mean, my buddies got in a fight with a guy And the guy, charged him, man, he just planted his head with a DDT right there on the ground, which was awesome to me. But yeah, man, they'll do that crap, but just don't shake it off, man. Worry about yourself.
They always come up and tell me it's fake and everything. I said, well, do you know how to bump? And they'll say, what's that? And I say, it's the basics of wrestling. I said, do you know how to bump? And they said, no. And I said, why don't you bump right now, bump on the floor, and tell me that's not fake?
Oh yeah, they say it's fake until they get in the ring. Yeah, man, don't worry about that kind of stuff. It happens to everybody. Happened to me. Happened to a few guys I know that I've worked with, man. I mean, happens to all of us. That's because wrestling ain't labeled as cool as it once was. Because Austin and WCW, Wolfpack, NWO, Hogan. Back then, everybody loved wrestling. It was on fire. But then it lost a lot of fans. I mean, a bunch of my close friends, they're not wrestling fans anymore, and they know I am. And yeah, they'll still pig at me, from time to time. But I mean, I'm about to be 28 years old. I don't care about that stuff, dude. Even back then, I was 14, 15. I still didn't care. So don't let it bother you.
All right. Well, we still got a little bit more time here.
Ask away.
Ask you a few more questions. Recently, there's been a lot of buzz in the wrestling business. You heard about the passing of China.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on
that? I remember watching China when I was, young. She really changed the way women work. Because I mean, before her, you had a few divas, but they didn't really work too much. I mean, you had Fabulous Moolah and stuff that worked, yeah, but you had like Sunny, you had like Miss Elizabeth and Sensational Sherry, Martell, all that stuff. But when China came along, man, she really changed it. Because she not only was she working the women, she's working the men. And that was something you didn't really see. And I just watched a clip the other day, with her recent passing, they're sharing clips like crazy. I watched one where she bench pressed Eddie Guerrero. I mean, wow. She was pretty strong. She's the only woman to ever be Intercontinental Champion. She beat Jericho. Yeah, dude, it's sad. You some folks, kind of seen it coming based on her recent life, with the drugs and all that stuff, dude. So it comes as no surprise to some, but it was still shocking when I seen it. I was laying on my couch. It was like 1 in the morning. The other night I was watching TV and I got on Facebook and I was refreshing. And I saw one of my wrestling groups I follow mention it. My first thing was it's fake, because a lot of folks do that crap. And I got on her official Twitter to make to see, and yeah, they posted it, man. I was wow, so young too, 45, man. Rest in peace, though. That's all I can say. She had an awesome career. Had a lot of fans, which I was listening to Vince Russo earlier today, and he was upset about it. But he said on the podcast that it made him cry a lot because he seen all the love that the fans still have for her. And what made him cry the most is because she didn't know that. She thought the world hated her. So she had no clue all the love that fans still have for her, but she just didn't know. And what it could have been, her seeing it now. But it's part of it.
You think she'll ever be in the WWE Hall of Fame?
Well, she should have been years ago, honestly.
Yeah, I know.
But they from what I've heard, they've had relationship problems, the company and her, and her past with Triple H, and where he's at now. But it wouldn't surprise me if they induct her now that she's gone. But it's long overdue. She needs to be there. I mean, they got Drew Carey in there. I mean, come on, man. They got Pete Rose. Have China.
They've even got Donald Trump.
Yeah, man, come on, dude. They just put Snoop Dogg in. Put it in China.
All right, well, we've about reached, the time limit here, Levi. But I thank you for being on the show.
No problem, man. And, always.
It's been a pleasure having you. But until next time, as always, I'm your host, Justin Hollywood, and this has been The Spotlight. And I will see you next week for another all-new edition. Thank you.
This has been a WWAX production.